Politically, as we all know, this nation has been hardening into two camps. You know, in presidential elections, we used to swing back and forth between candidates with a range of pretty moderate views. Lyndon Johnson, running for president in 1964, won 44 states in 1964. 8 years later, Richard Nixon, the Republican, won every one of those 44 states except one. But 2/3 of the states Nixon won that time voted for Democrat Bill Clinton a few years later. And now we're much more polarized into our respective red and blue silos. And I certainly think establishing a chair in civil discourse is an idea whose time has very much come. You know, actually it's an idea that's probably way overdue. I think the potential is quite exciting, except it seems to me there's a huge burden on the first holder of that chair, which is to decide what civil discourse is. But you know, I'm not profound, I'm a journalist. And it seems to me, civil discourse on one hand, it's also simple and easy, right? Civil discourse, you don't scream at people and call them names. If you're on the left, whatever that is, it's a bad idea to yell at your opponents and say they're fascist pigs. If you're a conservative, you ought not to stand up during the State of the Union address and call the president a liar, as one congressman actually did a few years ago. Now that would seem fairly straightforward, treat people in a civil fashion. But on the other hand, if you try to imagine anything resembling a civilized conversation with the Khmer Rouge, say, or Adolf Hitler, the concept of civil discourse pretty rapidly degenerates in some kind of Saturday Night Live parody, like, you know, well, tell us about the gas chambers, Mr. Hitler, or how many people do you think you killed, Mr. Pot? I mean, that doesn't work. But there's a fundamentally deeper problem here that goes beyond the concept of civil discourse, but that's essential, I think, to figuring out how civility should work in modern society.
Well, thank you very much. I believe that this professorship is a wonderful opportunity for Grand Valley, and I am both humbled and thrilled to be part of the kickoff for this peace-based vision. Someone recently asked me, do you think that civil discourse is a lost piece of national dialogue? Given the recent government shutdown and the ongoing war of words around the Affordable Care Act, it is tempting to say that indeed civil discourse is a lost piece of U.S. national dialogue. But I am not so sure that this is true. To say that civil discourse is a lost way of handling conflict seems like a sweeping generalization that misses all of the people and initiatives that are working successfully through a commitment to civil discourse. Students and I will meet some of these people and work with some of these organizations through this first civil discourse course. Discourse course sounds funny, but which I am calling Detroit's Public Dialogues, Listening Across Differences, Seeing Beyond Stereotypes, Talking Among Communities. In this course, we will ground our learning about complicated issues like racialized poverty, the feminization of poverty, and changing labor conditions by partnering with people whose commitment to civil discourse is yielding successful, peace-based revitalization efforts. One way to navigate polarizing dissension is to remember that there are many people resisting polarization. I believe that the vision of the Padnos-Sarosic Professorship of Civil Discourse will afford the community of Grand Valley State University new opportunities to strengthen its leadership role in promoting constructive public dialogue and in facilitating discourse as a way to resist polarization and to invest in collaboration.